You brought up Jordan Peterson earlier. I wanted to talk about him because pretty much the whole reason that he became so famous on the internet was because he protested a bill in Canada that would have, let's just go with what he claimed it would have done. The bill would have made it to where if you were to misgender someone, or misgender someone who's transgendered or whatever, you would get fined and possibly go to jail. But of course, all of the legal experts looked at this bill C-16, I think. Yeah. And said, no, it really all it does is just add transgender people to the list of protected classes of people for civil rights. Right. That's all it does. Right. And it was also already the law in many Canadian provinces at the time. I think it was all the provinces. Yeah, that's why it's so ridiculous that he got so bent out of shape out of that. And he was like, well, I'm not going to follow this law. I'm like, so you're just going to be a jerk and go around and just be like, misgender people left and right like that. Exactly. That's called being a shitty person. Just treating people like shit. Don't do that. That's
he's still allowed to do that.
Right. No, no one has gotten arrested for this. It passed. C-16 passed.
Exactly.
No one's gotten arrested. Yeah. No one's even been fined, I don't think.
And see, that's the argument that Peterson and his followers, including my parents, unfortunately, have argued is, and I mean, this is connected to the whole free speech issue. They're calling it compelled speech because and that is a violation of, free speech rights, is saying you have to think and talk this way. To be fair, that's what authoritarian governments do. You aren't allowed to talk about the dude who the dictator just murdered. He doesn't exist anymore. You can't talk about it. But that's compelled speech. Compelled speech is not you can't fire somebody for, being transgender or, you can be an asshole all you want. You can dead name them. You can use their, use everything but their preferred pronouns. You can do that. You aren't going to get fired for it. And if somebody does fire you for it, that's not a violation of your free speech rights.
Right.
If you're a government employee and you get fired for being an asshole, that's not a violation of your free speech rights. You're just an asshole.
Right. And that's really what the bill was about. It was about protecting people from housing discrimination, job discrimination, and that kind of thing.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with you saying things.
Right, exactly.
But this is how he got famous, and he's like a millionaire from Patreon now. This was the thing that brought him to the big time, basically.
Yeah. And that is frankly because people don't understand what free speech is. They don't recognize that. I mean, and I'll be honest, I didn't really give a shit or know much about what free speech was until a few years ago.
Yeah.
Because it was just one of those things that it's you can, you can't be stopped from saying things, you aren't going to go to jail for saying bad things or speaking out against the government. And that was just that's how I learned it in middle school. And then Jordan Peterson and his ilk come along and it's okay, so you think that people not liking what you say is a violation of your free speech rights. So we all have to be okay with anybody saying anything. Where does that lead, man? Really?
Yeah.
And read the amendment. It's 3 sentences long. It says nothing about that. Yeah. It's the government, Congress can't pass a law that says you can't speak out against the government. They have to allow you to petition the government. And that's why we have our representatives in town halls where you can just walk in and be like, dude, I hate everything you're doing. You're awful. Right, you can do that and the police won't drag you out.
Yes.
As long as you aren't throwing anything at them.
And another interesting situation that's been going on recently was Steven Crowder. I'm not sure. Are you familiar with Steven Crowder at all?
Is he
He's on YouTube and he has a show. He's conservative dude. He's
thinking of somebody else. I'm thinking of some old Christian.
The change musician. My mind meme. The picture of the guy behind the the desk outside and it says whatever changed my mind. Yeah. That's Steven Crowder.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But he's a super, super, super right wing radio show, YouTube show host. But anyway, so what happened with him was, for a while, I guess, like there was a few times that he kind of like made fun of like gay people and stuff on his show. In particular, this person, Carlos Menza, who's like, I'm not sure. I think he works for Vox. And he does.
Oh yeah. I actually watch his stuff a lot.
Yeah. So Steven Crowder like made fun of him and stuff, and Steven Crowder also like wears a shirt on his show and also sells the shirt at his store that shows a picture of Che Guevara, and it says socialism is for F*G*S.
Awesome.
So I'm not gonna say that on recording, and it shows like Che Guevara like being all like, you know, dainty, effeminate. Like, so what happened was basically he got just demonetized from YouTube.
Yeah.
So his videos don't make money anymore.
Yeah.
And guess what? He did the same thing Alex Jones did, and basically said that he's being censored and that his free speech is being abridged.
Absurd.
You're not entitled to get paid by YouTube, dude. Like,
right.
like if they don't like what you're doing, they could kick you off. Like,
Exactly. And you know what? Like, I watch plenty of channels on YouTube specifically of, you know, sex educators and like people who do like really weird shit and make like, you know, How To Basic.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
He was demonetized at one point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Why?
Have you watched his videos?
They're insane.
Crazy.
Yeah, they're insane.
Yeah. And it's just people are like, I don't like this. Those videos were getting reported.
Yeah, well, I can kind of understand that because...
Yeah, but, you know, How To Basic and, you know, Dan Savage and any other person who's like doing things, they're like, yeah, I know, I'm probably going to lose money on this, you know? Or like people who are running like atheist or skeptical YouTube channels and being like, so I'm going to talk about how awful this religion is. I know it's going to get demonetized. You know, they're like okay with it because they know what they're saying.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I do that. It is a concern of mine. Like, I don't want to like pretend like that everything that corporations do with regards to how they manage who gets paid and who doesn't get paid or who gets to use their platform or not. It can be a huge problem. It's just the hypocrisy of the conservative side of things that really like bugs me because it kind of like poisons the well in many ways, you know, and makes it to where we can't have a serious conversation about, you know, possibly passing some laws to protect people on the internet who rely on it for income or whatever. Just, you know, because I know that people get demonetized just from reporting the news and things like that. So it's like, yeah, like that, I don't think that should happen. Like, you know, we need to like do something to fix that. And one of the problems is YouTube is so big. There's like how many hours every second? Like 300 hours are posted to YouTube every second. That like there is no way that they could ever like monitor all of that. So like, you know, you'll get struck with DMCA claims and things like that, and like it can be a problem, and I think we need to address it. But it's just
but it has nothing to do with free speech. That's the thing.
Yes,
like that has to do with how we regulate our economy.
Exactly. Yeah,
and that is not that has literally nothing to do with free speech, because free speech is about read the First Amendment. You know, it has nothing to do with how we decide we want our economy to work and the people that employ us we don't have town squares anymore. We have Facebook. No one's walking through the streets being like, hear ye. Like, the government's awful, burn it all to the ground. Like, no one's doing that. They're doing it on Facebook. They're doing it on Twitter. Right. You know, they're making YouTube videos and putting them out there, and people are watching them, and they're getting demonetized because people don't like what they say. And YouTube's like, fine, we won't give that guy any money. We'll take his videos down, you know? And I'm all for the democratic policing of our own speech as a society. Like I said, I'm not for punching Nazis, but I think Nazis should expect to be punched. Like the social expectation.
I'm for punching Nazis.
Like, I mean,
it's a tongue in cheek, but
Yeah, you know, like, I mean, I'm not gonna, if someone is standing next to me and someone else says something racist and they get punched, I'm not gonna be like, shame on you.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
you had it coming,
you
bro.
had it coming. Yeah. And I mean, like if we want to make America great again, let's go back to the time when you said something shitty and your dad took his belt off and beat you to death. You know, like, the social expectation should be that you're going to get in trouble if you say things that are not socially acceptable. And that should extend to our digital lives as well. And we need to, like, frankly, I think we need to start working on passing laws that address that specifically. But again, that has nothing to do with free speech.
Yeah.